What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Big Love, and this is Big Love's Breakdown. Congratulations to the Rock and Roll Express. It was announced earlier today that they would be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year at WrestleMania weekend. Big congrats to y'all. Raw recap tonight. We were live in Portland. This is a good Monday Night Raw. A lot of action going on, a lot of matches. I normally complain about that, so I definitely got what I wanted tonight. So the show starts out with Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon in the ring, and they're standing in front of a little podium with what looks like a contract of some sort on the podium. And Mick Foley, although reluctantly, announces their newest free agent signee, Samoa Joe. Once Samoa Joe gets to the ring, Stephanie goes, "That wasn't a proper introduction," and she runs through the Samoan submission machine moniker, make Joe seem really great, which he is, that's for sure. You could tell Foley was a little reluctant based upon his actions last week, and as he said, who Samoa Joe aligned himself with. Although it was short, I thought Samoa Joe's promo he cut was really good. 18 years waiting to step foot inside a WWE ring. How do you ruin a great moment? Insert Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns comes out there because Samoa Joe basically said he's going to run roughshod over the WWE locker room on Raw. And Roman Reigns took exception to this, basically challenging him to step to him right then and there. Before it can get out of hand, Mick Foley stops and breaks it up and announces later tonight we're going to see Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. I must say I'm pretty happy about this. I love Samoa Joe. I'm glad we get right to it and we get to see a match out of him. I thought they were going to make us wait and give us long-winded promos until they found him a suitable opponent, but they went ahead and threw him in the fire with Roman Reigns. And then we get Nia Jax versus Bayley. This match was okay. It serves a purpose for the story that's being built in the women's division right now, more or less. So Nia Jax is pretty much in control of the majority of this match. When Bayley finally takes advantage, it's on the outside. Nia Jax hits the ring post, and Bayley rolls in the ring, hopefully to get Nia Jax counted out. In the process of the count out, Charlotte comes out to kind of serve as a distraction for Bayley and maybe even distract the referee from the count out. It works. Nia Jax comes in with her Samoan drop and pins Bayley 1, 2, 3. Next week, we're going to see Bayley versus Charlotte for the women's title. I think Bayley's going to actually get this next week. I think we're going to see Bayley as the new Raw Women's Champion. So let me know in the comments below what you think. After that, it's Braun Strowman versus 4 jobbers. I didn't even bother to figure out what their names were because I knew it wasn't going to last long. And if it did last long, it was only because Braun allowed it to last long. One of the jobbers ends up leaving. He hightails it out of there. He beats the 4 jobbers, or well, the 3 that are left, with a power slam, and I think he just kind of threw the other ones around. Then he immediately goes, "Foley, I told you I wanted competition." I was in fear for Foley's life at this point because I thought Braun was going to do something to him. He ends up immediately finding him in the backstage area. Foley announces at Fastlane, which is March 5th, that it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. The next match we have is Akira Tozawa versus Drew Gulak. This is Akira's first match on Raw. This was a decent match. I normally get a little inattentive when it comes to these cruiserweight matches because they don't normally do them well, especially on Raw. This one was actually okay, like really hard-hitting. Akira Tozawa showed off a few moves. He has one of the best German suplexes in the game, that's for sure. So Tozawa gets the win here, and after the match, Brian Kendrick comes out and shakes his hand. I thought there was going to be more to it than that. It looks like he just wanted to shake his hand and then he left. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with him. I hope they don't waste him. They kind of wasted Mustafa Ali, and I know he's got a big name and a big following from Japan, so we'll see. Crossing our fingers that WWE does right with him. One thing I want to say about the Tozawa character, I don't know if he normally does this. I don't remember him doing it in the Cruiserweight Classic. Maybe if y'all are familiar with him, you could tell me in the comments below. What was the noise he was making? He did it quite often, and at first I thought it was just him getting pumped up, but he did it in a celebration afterwards. It was really weird. It was like, I don't know what that was. Maybe Vince or somebody was like, we need you to make some type of noise. So next we get Kevin Owens and Y2J, Chris Jericho in the ring. Kevin Owens is going on and bragging about how he beat Braun Strowman last week and all this, and then Y2J adds on to basically what Kevin Owens was saying, like, you know, they're besties and all this. And one of the funniest things about this segment was Jericho ends up putting Brady on the list because everybody was calling Brady the GOAT, the greatest of all time last night, and Jericho says he's the GOAT. Goldberg comes out. And Goldberg basically says, hey, you ladies want to fight, or are you going to let me talk? He accepts the challenge to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and then Kevin Owens goes on about how him and Chris Jericho are going to be the main event of WrestleMania, not Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. They're just an undercard. Look, I'm not a big fan of Brock Lesnar or Goldberg per se, especially since they're part-timers right now, but they're far from the undercard if we're being honest. Kevin Owens says he's the longest reigning Universal Champion, and Goldberg says, hey, that's because you didn't fight me yet. Now, before Jericho can actually put Goldberg on the list, Goldberg takes the pen out of Jericho's hand, and he takes his list, and Goldberg writes his own name on Jericho's list. The look on Jericho's face was pretty priceless, and then Kevin Owens kind of looks over just to double check to make sure, hey, yep, that's Goldberg's name on the list. Jericho accepts Goldberg's challenge to face Kevin Owens for the Universal title, and Kevin Owens does not look happy about this. Before we go any further with what happened on Raw, like I said, I don't necessarily hate Goldberg or Brock Lesnar. I'm not a huge fan of theirs. But for part-timers to keep getting these big championship matches, and from what it looks like from rumors and that, it looks like Goldberg's going to win the Universal title. I'm personally not a fan of this. I just don't think part-timers should get the belt because they're only here every now and then. Luckily, the U.S. title has been built up well enough that it can sustain a month of being the top belt on Raw, because we know Goldberg's not going to be appearing much, and we know for sure he's not defending the title till Mania if he wins it at Fastlane. Guys, let me know in the comments below, do you think part-timers should have the belt? Especially the main belt, or any belt at all for that matter? Let me know in the comments below. So after that segment, Jericho and Kevin Owens are in the back, and they're kind of bickering back and forth. Kevin Owens is obviously upset that he accepted Goldberg's challenge on his behalf. So they're continuing to sow seeds of dissension there between the two, which inevitably we're going to get Jericho versus Owens at WrestleMania, whether it's for the Universal title or not. I'm okay with that. I think these two are going to put on a dynamic show, and it's going to be plain and simply awesome. So the next match we had was the Raw Tag Team titles. Sheamus and Cesaro are getting their rematch against the Club. Enzo and Cass are actually at ringside because they get to face the winner of this match. This match was okay. You know, we normally get a solid match from the Club versus Cesaro and Sheamus. At one point, Luke Gallows spills to the outside of the ring, and I don't know if Enzo Amore was laughing at him or what the case was, but he immediately puts the boot to Enzo's face, which causes Cass to react, putting the boot to Gallows' face, disqualification. The Club retains the titles. I'm guessing next week it's going to be the Club versus Enzo and Cass, or at Fastlane it's going to be the Club versus Enzo and Cass. Sheamus and Cesaro did not look happy about this, so I imagine they're going to factor into this equation somehow. I'd love for it to be a triple threat match at Fastlane. Maybe that's what they'll end up doing. We then get a Rollins update, which is really not a Rollins update if you've been following the news online or anywhere. The timetable seems to be 6 to 8 weeks, which means he may be back the week before WrestleMania. Realistically told us nothing about this. The New Day comes out, and they have a great promo. I think we're going to get booty ice cream? New Day ice cream? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I didn't pay full attention to this match because nobody can make the Shining Stars look good at this point. They're boring to watch in my opinion. No offense to Primo and Epico. I'm not fans of theirs. I love the New Day, but even I can't watch these matches. Plus, I knew the New Day was going to win. So in the back, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, the one that normally interviews people on Raw now. She's interviewing Chris Jericho and basically asking about the Kevin Owens situation. Kevin Owens comes from over here, and he's like, hey, look, I know you're always there for me, this and that. He's like, I'm sorry, we're friends, blah, blah, blah. So it looks like as fast as they started to tear apart, they kind of reconciled. maybe that's just to keep this going until Fastlane when they inevitably break up the friendship, probably the night after or leading into WrestleMania. Next up, we get Sami Zayn versus Chris Jericho for the United States Championship. This was a really good match. I'm looking for words to express why this was a good match, and I feel like all I need to say is Sami Zayn. Plus, Chris Jericho has been doing this for so long, and he always puts on really solid matches, so the combination just fits so well together. This match was probably a little better than their match last week when Sami Zayn beat Chris Jericho in a non-title match. The ending is what we could expect. Kevin Owens helps Chris Jericho win. Codebreaker 1, 2, 3. Jericho retains the U.S. title. Like I said, this is a great match. I'm not sure if Sami Zayn can put on a bad match at this point. Hopefully we'll get to see Sami Zayn get another rematch, maybe one where Kevin Owens isn't involved. We then flash to a segment where Charlotte's in the training room with Sasha Banks, basically berating her, saying she's basically been irrelevant since their Roadblock end of the line Iron Woman match, which is basically true with the exception of the savage beatings Nia Jax has given her over the past month and a half. Sasha Banks has basically become an afterthought at this point. I think we're definitely seeing the wheels turn for a heel turn for her. I think it's starting because she didn't say anything to Charlotte. It's almost like she kind of agreed with her and she knows that she has to do something to make a statement. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think Sasha Banks is just an overall good character. And I started watching Sasha Banks in NXT when she was a heel. So I don't mind the heel character. We'll see what happens. So we have Austin Aries in the ring doing an in-ring interview with the king of the cruiserweights, Neville. Austin Aries announces that tomorrow night on 205 Live, we're going to have a fatal 5-way elimination match to determine Neville's #1 contender for his Cruiserweight Championship. Jack Gallagher versus TJ Perkins versus Cedric Alexander versus Noam Dar versus Tony Nese. I'm excited for this match. I hope y'all are too. Tell me below what you think or who you think is going to win this match. Eventually, all these participants of this fatal 5-way elimination match come out. So this essentially breaks off into a 6-man tag match. Jack Gallagher, TJ Perkins, and Cedric Alexander versus Noam Dar, Tony Nese, and Neville. And eventually, like I figured, Neville was going to leave ringside. Noam Dar ends up picking up the loss here when Cedric Alexander gives him the lumbar check. I'm picking a favorite for this fatal 5-way elimination tomorrow night. I'm going Cedric Alexander. So once again, we have another backstage segment with Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. And next week in Las Vegas, Chris Jericho announces that it's going to be the Festival of Friendship. I don't know what that means. I have a bunch of question marks. It's probably going to be pretty cheesy, to be honest with you guys, but we'll see. So it's main event time. Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. Out comes Roman Reigns, and Samoa Joe attacks him from behind. This match was pretty much just Samoa Joe beating Reigns. He's just brutalizing Roman Reigns. Of course, eventually Roman Reigns gets his, as I like to call it, he Super Saiyans up and just, starts getting his shots in on Samoa Joe. Now, he gives him a Superman punch, and when he's setting up for his spear, Braun Strowman's music hits. I gotta say, I knew this was gonna happen from the get-go. Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns have unfinished business here. I knew regardless it was gonna end in either Samoa Joe picking up the cheap victory because of Braun Strowman interference, or Braun Strowman was gonna interrupt this match and throw it out as a no contest. Braun Strowman basically distracts Roman Reigns long enough for him to Superman punch Braun. Samoa Joe gets the victory here. 1, 2, 3. Then Braun Strowman just annihilates Roman Reigns after the match. He hits him with steps. He even power slams him through the barricade. The fans were chanting, "Thank you, Braun." Roman Reigns has so much heat at this point, they need to just turn him heel. I think the best thing to do for his career right now is stop trying to shove him down our throats as a babyface and make him a heel. So overall, I thought Raw was pretty good. I mean, like I said, I love to see action on Raw, not a lot of talking. When there was talking segments, they were highly entertaining, or they were short enough that it didn't bother me as much. I mean, the matches, some of them didn't end like you'd want to, or they were kind of cheap tactics for the victory. Tell me below what you thought of Raw tonight. Did you agree with me? Was it a good Raw? Like this video, subscribe to my channel, share with all your friends. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Until next time, this is Big Love's Breakdown. I got 2 words for you. Stay tuned.